Hello, everyone. So today we're going to start the topic of dictionaries. So as you've progressed in this class, you've seen a variety of different data types. We've looked at integers and floats and strings and lists and tuples. And now we're going to introduce a new data type, which is a dictionary. So you can see here that a dictionary is denoted by these brackets here, and then each item in the dictionary is separated by a comma, just like a list, um, but each item is made up of a pair. So this pair is called a key value pair, and this is very important. Um, so when we're talking about dictionaries, key value pairs is something that you really want to learn. And so each item in a dictionary is a key value pair. So this is one item in the dictionary. And the first item is the key, and then it's separated with a colon, and then the value is given. Now, the way that dictionaries work is that you don't have indices. So forget about indices. I mean, don't forget about them obviously for lists, but you must forget about them for dictionaries, because that's one of the things that I see students do a lot is they confuse lists and dictionaries together. They try to access dictionaries with index numbers, and they try to use methods for lists on dictionaries. So you don't want to be one of those people. So remember that with a dictionary, you have a key, and the key will give you access to the value. So when we're going and getting or accessing values, we're accessing them by the key, and that's going to give us the value. So the best way to look at this is to actually have a go. So let's create a dictionary. So we can go into interactive Python mode, and let's create an English to German dictionary. So here we have a key value pair 1 and 1. So 1 is the key, 1 is the value for that key value pair. 2 and 2, so 2 is the key, 2 is the value, and 3 and 3 is another item. So say, for example, that we wanted to go and get the value for the key 2. So we would say, English to German, give the name of the dictionary, and then we would say 2. So remember, we're not passing in an index number anymore. We're passing in a key, and that's going to return the value. So let's do another one. So we say 1, and that's going to return 1, the value. So here I'm passing in the key here, right? These are the key. You can't pass in the value to access the key because it's looking for a key. So it's going to say 1 is not a key. So that's going to throw an error like that, right? Now, the thing about dictionaries is, unlike lists, they're not stored in order because, there's no index numbers. So you can't rely on the order of things. Now, the thing is, the keys must be immutable and unique. So 1, 2, 3, we can't change those. And we'll see in just a moment if we try to duplicate them, that won't work either. But the values can be mutable. So we could change the values, and we can add new key value pairs as well. But just the keys can't be changed, and they must be unique. So let's have a look. So let's create a new dictionary like this. So numbers. And you can see here, so if we type out numbers, that we have 8 is a key. So this is an integer. So remember, the key can be a number, it can be a string, so it can be integer, a string, a tuple. We're not going to work with tuples for keys. But here, for example, you can see the key is an integer. So we have 8 as the key, and then 8 the string as the value. We have 3 as integer the key, 3 as the value, and so forth. So say, for example, we'll just go and let's practice accessing a value from the dictionary. So say, for example, we said 3. This is dry. But when I use 3 in this case, I'm not using an index number. I'm using 3 as the key value. Okay. All right. Now, so let's try to duplicate. Okay, here we have 3 dry. Oh, here we go. We had 3, 3, and then 3 dry. So when we entered it, we had it like that. But then when we actually went to check it, the first one, the 3, 3, disappeared. So you can see here, if you have duplicate keys, the last key value pair will win. So the 3, 3 key value pair lost, and the 3 dry key value pair won in this case. So you can see when we printed it out, the 3, 3 was gone. So you can't have duplicate keys. And like we said, the values can be any data type. So they can be a number, a string, a list, and so forth. So here is an example of a dictionary where the value is a list. So this dictionary is called address book, and the key is a string. So we have Fred, and then it's separated by a colon, and then we have the value, which is this list, and it's his last name, his address, and some random social security number. And then this second person, we have their first name as their key, and then the value is this list, and so forth. Now, of course, with a dictionary data type, if you were to use people's first names, that wouldn't be very smart, because obviously some people have the same first name, and all of those people except the last one would be deleted, because as we know, the keys have to be unique. So when you're using dictionaries, you want to choose a piece of data that is unique. So like say someone's social security number is the key, and as the value, you can have a list of, their other details, for example. So here it's their name and their address and so forth. Or you could give them an ID number or something like that, like your student ID. Okay. So remember built-in keyword, Python keyword in and not in that we use with lists. So you can use the same thing in dictionaries, but these will test if the key is in the dictionary, not the value. So let's go back and have a look at our English to German dictionary. So say, for example, we wanted to say 1 in English to German. That is true. The key 1 is in there. And then if we check eins in English to German, that is false. Because even though eins is a value in the dictionary, the built-in function only checks if it's a key in the dictionary, not a value. And then just like with lists, we have len for our length. So if we said len, English to German, that would give us 3, because we have 1, 2, 3 items in the dictionary. Remember, every key value pair constitutes 1 item. So dictionaries are mutable. We can add things, we can take things away in terms of key value pairs. We can also create empty dictionaries. So for example, you could say my dictionary, and then you would have these empty brackets here. So then if we checked my dictionary, that would denote an empty dictionary. And let's have a look at our English German, and let's look at adding something to a dictionary and then changing a value in the dictionary. So for example, we have English to German. So say we wanted to add 4 and translate 4 to German. So then if we wanted to do that, we could say, okay, here is the key. So we're passing in a new key in the square brackets, and we're saying, make it equal to fear. Now, if you know German, you know this is spelled incorrectly, but just bear with me because we're doing this on purpose. So we're saying, okay, so here is the new key value pair 4 and fear, and we've added it using this line, so that's very important. Please remember and learn that. But now we go, oh, fear is spelled incorrectly. Let's change it. So we can change it doing the same thing. excuse me, we can say for, and then we can say fear spelt correctly, and then we do our English to German dictionary, and you see the value has been changed in that way. And actually, what's more is you can notice here that this is, excuse me, this is the same thing that you would do with lists, except instead of using an index number, you're using the key to change the value. And then we also have this Python word del, just like list. So we can say, if we want to delete the key value pair for fear, we can say delete English to German. And then let's check our dictionary, and that key value pair has been deleted. And then we have a whole bunch of dictionary methods which you will also need to learn. So if we have a look here, so we have the dictionary name dot, and then the method, and then arguments if they take arguments. So remember how we were getting items from a dictionary, we were accessing them. So we were saying, for example, English to German, and we were saying one, and that was giving you eins. Well, there's another way to do that. We can also say get, and then we pass in the key like this, and that will also give you the value. And there's another method as well. If you say you had done this wrong with eins, and you had said eins instead of one, it wouldn't return anything. But there's another method. If you add a alt variable like this, you can say, for example, there is no such key. So it returns the value, but it returns whatever you put in that alt parameter if that key is absent. So here we put the string, there is no such thing, key. So if we run that, there is no such key because eins is not a key, it's a value. We also have this method keys that returns all the keys. So we can say keys, and you can see that this will return a different data type. So if we actually look at type English to German dot keys, you can see that it's a different data type. It's dictionary keys. Right, so it's not a list. I'm just highlighting this because later you might need this for the extra credit for project 2. And then same with values. So that will return all the values in a dictionary. But again, this is not a list. This is a different data type. So if I said type dot English to German values, you can see that this is a dictionary values data type. And then finally, we have items here. Oops, typo. So you can see here, again, this is another data type of its own. So here you'd have to say items, and then this is dictionary items, all right? So just putting that out there as a hint. Okay, now this is an important one, pop and pop item. So let's go through these. So pop returns a value for the key, and it deletes that key value pair from the dictionary. So for example, if we look back at our English to German, and let's look at our numbers for now. So here, let's look at our numbers and say I wanted to say numbers dot pop, and then I'll say 9. So you can see that will return the value of that key. And if I check numbers now, you can see that that key value pair here has been deleted as well. Now, if I did pop item, now this isn't interesting. It will return an arbitrary, not random, key value pair, and it deletes it from the dictionary. So for example, if we said numbers, pop item, no argument passed in this one, it will return an arbitrary key value pair, and then that will be deleted. So if you check numbers, that's gone. If I run it again, there's another one, and I check it now, it's gone. So it's not random, and you'll see like when you start doing the project, and I'll show you another example in a couple of slides. Arbitrary is not random. And you may notice a pattern, But it's not really a pattern because remember that there is no actual order in a dictionary. So you can't say that there is a pattern for sure because things aren't ordered in a dictionary. So it gets a little bit like technical there, but for your project two for extra credit, you can actually try to do something, remove something randomly. So we'll look at that. And then we have update. So if we go back to our English to German dictionary here, and let's say English to German. So say I wanted to add a key value pair or several key value pairs. I could say update, and then I'm going to pass in however many key value pairs I would like. So here, for example, I could say 4 and then put my colon, vier, finish that, make sure I've got everything, and then I check my English to German, and you can see that's been updated. Now remember that the other thing we were looking at with our dictionaries was we could also add something. So if we say del English to German 4, so we just check it's gone. We remember that the other method we had to add something was we could say English to German, and then we do this method. So there's two methods where you can add something. Okay, and then that also adds something to your dictionary as well. Um, so this method allows you to add multiple things, which is nice. And then we have clear, which obviously clears the whole dictionary. Now, loops and dictionaries. These are very important. So the thing to remember is that when we're working with dictionaries, obviously you're going to forget about for loops by index. You're going to have to focus on for loops by item. But what is the item going to be? Is it going to be the key or the value? Well, this is the thing that you really have to learn, is that the item in a for loop by item in a dictionary is the key. It is not the value. So I suggest that you try and run this, and we're going to run it together now in Python Tutor Visualize. So let's get the indentations right. So here is our dictionary that we've seen before. And we're going to, so here's our dictionary, and it's good for you to see this. So these are the keys, these are the values, right? And so this is our dictionary D. And then we're going to enter into our for loop. And the first value of the key is going to be 1 because that is the first key in our dictionary. So when we go to say key is and we print key, that's just going to print 1. Then in the second line in our for loop, we're actually going to use that key to access the value in the dictionary. So we're going to say D key, and you know that should give you 1, right? Because that is the value of the key 1. Then we go to the next iteration of our for loop, and now key is going to have the value 2. So we're going to go ahead and print 2 because 2 is the next key in our dictionary. And then we're going to print the value of that key using our D and then key square brackets, and that's going to be 2. And then the last one's going to be 3. And then we go and get D3, which is going to have the value dry. Yeah? So there you see a nice, it's very simple for loop using, but you have to remember that this key value is holding the key. And that's why I called it key here, but obviously you can call it whatever you want, but so that you remember. And then here's an example with a while loop using pop item. And I think this would be nice to look at too. So let's have a look at Python Tutor Visualize. So here we have the same dictionary and we're saying while length of D is greater than 0. So now we're checking the length and we're making sure it's greater than 0. We're going to use d.pop item. So we're popping items. Remember, that's arbitrary removal and return. And then we're printing the item. So we're putting that into this variable item. We're printing item, and then we're also printing the remaining dictionary. So let's have a look. So there's our dictionary again. And now we're going to say, okay, pop item, and we're going to put that into the variable item, and that's going to give you 3 and dry. So that's going to give us a tuple 3 and dry. Then we're going to go ahead and print that. So there is item is 3 and dry. And then we say remaining dictionary is, and then hopefully, yes, we can make it bigger. There you can see remaining dictionary is 1, 1, 2, 2. So we popped it and we removed it. That's what pop does, right? Then we go to the next one, pop item. Now it's 2, 2. And then we print that. And this is our remaining dictionary now. So we're going to print that. And then we pop the last one because it was still greater than 0. And now the length is going to be 0. And this is the remaining dictionary here. So then we exit the while loop. So you can see a pattern there with the pop item, but remember it's not technically a pattern because you don't have order in dictionaries. So pop item is supposed to be arbitrary. All right.